Tupac Shakur, a name synonymous with hip-hop, evokes a complicated mix of emotions. His presence in the music industry was nothing short of revolutionary, and his influence continues to be felt even decades after his untimely death. He was a wordsmith, an artist, and an activist whose music reflected the struggles and aspirations of a generation. His ability to weave intricate narratives through his lyrics made him a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope for those living in the margins of society. His lyrics, raw and powerful, resonated with millions, addressing social injustices, poverty, and police brutality. Songs like Changes and Brenda's Got a Baby highlighted the systemic issues plaguing urban communities, making him not just an entertainer, but a social commentator. However, Tupac's life, much like his music, was a whirlwind of controversy. His outspoken nature and rebellious spirit often put him at odds with the law and the media, painting a complex picture of a man who was both revered and reviled. Despite his artistic brilliance and social consciousness, Tupac's life was tragically cut short, leaving behind a legacy forever tangled with legal troubles and accusations. His death at the age of 25 left a void in the music world, but his influence continues to inspire new generations of artists and activists. One such incident, a 1993 sexual assault case in New York City, cast a long shadow over his career and continues to spark debate. The case was a turning point, not just in Tupac's life, but in the public's perception of him. This essay delves into the details of this pivotal case, exploring the events, the trial, and the lasting impact on Tupac's life and legacy. The trial was a media spectacle, drawing attention from all corners of the globe and putting Tupac's life under a microscope. While Tupac vehemently denied the charges, maintaining his innocence throughout his life, the incident remains a dark chapter in his story. His defense team argued that he was a victim of his own fame, targeted because of his outspoken views and controversial lifestyle. It's a chapter that continues to fascinate and divide, prompting discussions about race, fame, and the complexities of justice. The case raised important questions about the intersection of celebrity in the legal system and how public figures are treated in the court of public opinion. We'll examine the details of the case, the evidence presented, and the public's reaction to the verdict. The trial's outcome had far-reaching implications not just for Tupac, but for the broader conversation about justice and accountability in America. Ultimately, it's a story that reveals the fragility of fame, the enduring power of perception, and the lasting impact of a single event on a life lived in the public eye. Tupac's legacy, though cast in shadows, continues to shine brightly, reminding us of the complexities of his life and the indelible mark he left on the world. The incident that would forever alter the course of Tupac's life began in the early morning hours of November 18, 1993, at the upscale Parker Meridien Hotel in Manhattan. A young woman, Ayanna Jackson, accused Tupac and two members of his entourage of sexual assault. Jackson claimed she met Tupac at a nightclub the previous evening. According to Jackson's account, she engaged in consensual kissing with the rapper in the VIP area. Later that night, she agreed to accompany Tupac and his entourage back to his hotel suite. However, upon arriving at the suite, Jackson alleged the atmosphere shifted dramatically. She claimed that Tupac became aggressive, pinning her down on a bed while his entourage watched and laughed. Jackson testified that despite her pleas for him to stop, Tupac continued his assault. The incident, as described by Jackson, was a terrifying ordeal that left her emotionally and physically scarred. Tupac, for his part, vehemently denied the allegations. He insisted that any sexual contact with Jackson was consensual and that the charges against him were fabricated. The days and weeks following the incident at the Parker Meridien were a whirlwind of accusations, denials, and legal maneuvering. The atmosphere was charged with tension as both sides prepared for a legal battle that would captivate the nation. The police investigation quickly gained momentum, fueled by the high-profile nature of the case and the intense media scrutiny surrounding Tupac. Every move made by the investigators was closely watched, and every new piece of information was dissected by the press. Adding to the complexity of the case were conflicting accounts from witnesses present at the hotel suite that night. Some witnesses claimed to have seen behavior that supported Jackson's allegations, while others provided statements that seemed to exonerate Tupac. Some corroborated aspects of Jackson's story, describing a scene of drunken revelry and inappropriate behavior. They painted a picture of a chaotic night where boundaries were blurred and actions were misinterpreted. Others, however, maintained that Jackson had been a willing participant in all activities and that the encounter was entirely consensual. These conflicting testimonies created a murky narrative that was difficult to untangle. As the investigation progressed, the prosecution built its case around Jackson's testimony, medical evidence, and the testimony of witnesses they believed supported the claim of sexual assault. They aimed to present a cohesive story that would convince the jury of Tupac's guilt. The defense, on the other hand, focused on inconsistencies in Jackson's account and the lack of physical evidence directly linking Tupac to a crime. They argued that the prosecution's case was built on shaky ground and that reasonable doubt was more than present. The case became a media sensation, with newspapers, magazines, and television news programs providing daily updates. The public was riveted, and opinions were sharply divided. Some saw Tupac as a victim of a smear campaign, while others believed he was guilty as charged. Tupac, known for his outspoken nature and confrontational style, did little to shy away from the controversy. He used his platform to address the allegations head-on, often turning press conferences into performances that further fueled public interest. He publicly proclaimed his innocence, accusing Jackson of lying and attempting to extort him. His statements were bold and unfiltered, reflecting his larger-than-life persona. The trial was not just a legal battle but a clash of narratives, each side vying for control of the story. As the trial date approached, the tension only mounted. Supporters of Tupac rallied, holding signs and chanting slogans outside the courthouse. Meanwhile, advocates for Jackson demanded justice, insisting that the truth would prevail. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown that would leave a lasting impact on all involved. Section 4. The Trial, Evidence and Testimonies. The trial, which began in late 1994, captivated the nation. It was not just a legal battle but a cultural event that drew the attention of millions. The media coverage was relentless, with every detail of the proceedings being scrutinized and debated. It was a clash of narratives, with the prosecution portraying Tupac as a predator who used his fame and influence to exploit a vulnerable young woman. They painted a picture of a man who believed he was above the law, using his celebrity status to manipulate and control those around him. The defense, in contrast, painted a picture of a consensual encounter gone wrong, manipulated by a woman seeking financial gain. They argued that Tupac was a target because of his wealth and fame, and that the accusations were a calculated attempt to extort money from him. Central to the prosecution's case was Ayanna Jackson's emotional testimony. Her account was harrowing, filled with vivid descriptions of the alleged assault and the trauma she endured. On the stand, she recounted the alleged assault in detail, describing the fear and humiliation she experienced. Her testimony was a powerful moment in the trial, bringing many in the courtroom to tears. The prosecution also presented medical evidence, including DNA analysis, which confirmed that sexual contact had occurred between Jackson and multiple individuals, including Tupac. This evidence was crucial in corroborating Jackson's account and adding weight to the prosecution's case. The defense, however, aggressively challenged Jackson's credibility, pointing to inconsistencies in her statements to the police and her testimony in court. They questioned her motives and suggested that her story had changed over time to fit a narrative that would benefit her financially. They highlighted the fact that Jackson had initially told authorities she had consensual sex with Tupac, but later changed her story, alleging assault. This shift in her account was a focal point of the defense's strategy, aiming to cast doubt on her reliability as a witness. The defense argued that this inconsistency, along with her delayed reporting of the incident, cast doubt on her claims. They suggested that the delay was a tactical move designed to create a more compelling case against Tupac. The trial was a grueling ordeal for all involved. The emotional toll on both the accuser and the accused was immense, with each day bringing new revelations and heightened tensions. The courtroom was packed with journalists, spectators, and supporters of both Tupac and Jackson. The media frenzy outside the courthouse was equally intense, with reporters vying for any snippet of information they could broadcast to the eager public. The tension was palpable, reflecting the high stakes of the case and the intense public interest it generated. The trial was more than just a legal proceeding. It was a spectacle that highlighted the intersection of celebrity, justice, and media in modern society. The outcome would not only impact the lives of those directly involved, but also resonate with the broader public, influencing perceptions of justice and celebrity culture for years to come. Section 5, guilty. The verdict and sentencing. After weeks of testimony, legal arguments, and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. On December 1, 1994, Tupac Shakur was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree sexual abuse. The jury acquitted him of the more serious charges of sodomy and weapons possession. The courtroom erupted in gasps and shouts as the verdict was read. Tupac, who had maintained a stoic demeanor throughout much of the trial, appeared stunned and angry. His family members and supporters, many of whom had filled the courtroom benches throughout the proceedings, were visibly distraught. The judge, in delivering the sentence, acknowledged the seriousness of the offenses and the impact on the victim. He sentenced Tupac to 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. The sentence, while less severe than the maximum penalty for the charges, was a significant blow to Tupac and his career.